What's going on, guys? Crypto Renegade here again with another video for you. In today's video, I wanted to do my part 2 to why this Bitcoin halving is different. So stay tuned for the video and I will pick right where I left off on the last video. So on the last video, I was talking before the video cut to black. I was talking about the Weimar Republic, and if you're unsure of what that is, in Germany in the 40s, basically what happened with their currency is the government kept printing and printing more money. And my father told me this story that when people were bringing wheelbarrows full of money to try to just buy a loaf of bread for their family, they were unable to do that. So there was this little story of someone trying to bring a wheelbarrow full of money just to buy a loaf of bread, and basically the person said, you know, I don't want your money, but leave the wheelbarrow because that has more value than the money that you have in it. So they just dumped the money on the ground and gave the guy the wheelbarrow. But that just sort of goes to show that people will find a way to get value from each other if they can no longer trust the government to be responsible, if they can no longer trust the government to stop debasing the currency and printing more and more. And we're seeing a lot of that happen right now in our world today. I mean, as I was saying in the last video, I mean, we've been printing trillions of dollars in the last 30 days alone, and it's been crazy. So as of right now, as of filming this video, there's a lot of exciting things that are going on. So the Bitcoin halving itself is happening in approximately 36 hours from the time of filming this video. And a lot of crazy things have happened in the last few days. So fundamentally, number one, the Bitcoin price has been driving up. It's been obviously pretty volatile leading up to that actual halving event that's been going on. But I think in my last video I said that it was the price was at about 91 or 9200. It actually, within the last day or two, it actually broke 10,000. And then right now it's dropped a little bit even more, so it's at about 8,500 roughly. So what tends to happen in situations like this leading up to the halving is, historically, the last two halvings, after the halvings took place, there was a huge shakeout, which means that a lot of people sold and they panicked, got rid of all the people with their weak hands that couldn't hang, and the price started into a sort of a macro bull trend after that. So you know, that's what happened after the 2016 halving, and as we saw the parabolic rise up to 20k Bitcoin in the end of 2017, it's just you know, higher highs, and it's just been a crazy ride that's been happening. But right now there's a lot of volatility going on because people are thinking, oh wait, what if I sell my Bitcoin a little bit early? No one will think of that, you know. And of course everyone else thinks that they're smarter than everyone else. And what's interesting is the psychology of this is a lot of people that are just in this to try to make money and try to outsmart the system. They're now probably panicking and selling at a loss because they think that, oh no, everyone's rushing to the exit, so I have to do the same. Where if you probably just stick to your guns and follow your plan with what you initially wanted to do, you're probably going to end up with much higher than 10k Bitcoin very, very soon. I mean, right after this whole thing, this whole event sort of ends. So I think that's kind of interesting to sort of see, and a lot of people are panicking and freaking out with all the volatility, but to me it's just, you know, a normal day in the life. So I just think it's kind of interesting. But as far as the fundamental news, so Paul Tudor Jones, who is a huge hedge fund manager magnate, and he recently wrote was featured in an article by Bloomberg and said that he is using Bitcoin to hedge against inflation. So why is this big news? Well, he's a very big figure in the institutional investing space, and what's been happening is that his endorsement is really signaling to a lot of those people that have been waiting on the sidelines with all this regulatory uncertainty that if he's going in, then it's probably safe that they could start to look to go in as well. And I just think it's really interesting that a lot of people are waiting for someone that they trust to kind of go in first, and then they'll tend to follow. It's very hard to be a contrarian and realize that fundamentally Bitcoin is going to be the future of finance. I mean, you know, not necessarily Bitcoin itself. There well could be something that surpasses it in terms of utility, in terms of price, in terms of you know, just being an overall better product. I mean, it's very possible that could come about in the next 5 to 10 years. You know, there's no doubt that it's possible. But you know, this is the big one. You know, Bitcoin has always been the most valuable. It's had the strongest network. It's quote unquote died several times since it was first born in 2009, and it's just a really exciting time. I mean, between all the fundamental events of what's going on right now, between the worldwide economic situation with the thing that's been going around. You mix that with Paul Tudor Jones, who's finally realizing that governments can't continue to print money and can't keep people locked in their homes in order to, there has to be GDP growth, there has to be commerce, and there has to be people working in order for us to, have a strong dollar again. And what he's realizing is that more and more and more printing of trillions of dollars, and the more debt that we get in, that Bitcoin, which has a fixed and finite supply, is looking like a better and a more strong option. I mean, think about it. Bitcoin is predictable and it's strong, and it basically lays out the entire roadmap for you. You know that exactly when the supply is going to be being cut. It's written into the code. You're basically trusting mathematics, and you're trusting in predictability in terms of the supply. Now, obviously, you don't know, or I don't know, or really no one knows what the price can be, but I think that with its fixed supply and with its stable monetary value, that it's really just going to continue to grow. I mean, with politicians, they can just print money whenever they want. The government feels like, I can just do whatever I want, and they don't care about the consequences, either short-term or long-term. They just want to get reelected, okay? They care about themselves. They don't really care about us, and that's unfortunately the sad truth of it. But Bitcoin is a way for you to take back your freedom. I mean, this is the real way for you to separate money and state, okay? This is a real powerful tool because it cannot be stopped. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care what country you're from. It doesn't need to know your name. It doesn't need to know your phone number. It doesn't need to know your email address, and it doesn't need to know your social. That's freedom, okay? I can send billions of dollars, hypothetically, to anyone that has an internet connection, same as easy as sending an email or easy as sending a text message, okay? So it's extremely powerful because it cannot be stopped. It cannot be censored. I don't have to pay ridiculous bank fees. There's just obviously a lot of pros to why Bitcoin is so much better than the current financial system. But the main thing here is power, and the main thing is freedom, and being able to take back your votes with your money and having no one being able to control it is extremely powerful, okay? People are starting to vote their confidence in a decentralized system where no one person or no one entity or no one conglomerate can control it, okay? So it's very, very fun and very, very exciting to see how this is all gonna play out. I mean, when the dust kind of settles here over the next few weeks after this halving, I think we're gonna see a very steady rise in people that are going to be more aware of this. I mean, to me, it's just really exciting because it's just giving more validation to the idea, and people, I think, in general, are wanting to see freedom. They're wanting to see, take back control of their lives, separate that money and state, separate the powers that be, so to speak, and sort of realize they can vote with their wallets in a different kind of way now. With the current global situation that's going on and being printing trillions of dollars, you mix that with a deadly virus that's been going around. You have that mixed with institutional investors that are now giving it a vote of confidence, really saying that, hey, this is really a good hedge against inflation. This is a really powerful tool. All of these things combined is just a really bullish signal. And I think that why this is different from 2016 is we didn't have the perfect storm of these factors happening in 2016, They weren't even really aware of crypto because everything was hunky-dory, they were just oblivious because they weren't really looking for a better system because everything was, in theory, working just fine for them with the way that their life was. So now, you fast forward 4 years now to 2020, and people are starting to realize that, wait a minute, something's not right here.